church is one foundation, is Jesus Christ her Lord. She is his new creation, by water and the word. From heaven he came and sought her to be his holy bride. With his own blood he bought her, and for her life he died.
It was a school that has everything in one room. Religion was the main thing at the school. But then we did have arithmetic and reading and writing and everything.
And when we got there, the first thing was the school bell will ring to let us know to all be seated. You know, every day was just a little bit different. We would have to recite the 10 Commandments or the Creed. And the next time, you know, a couple of times a week, we would have the Bible verses, you know. And I think it's on Wednesday, we usually had a hymn that we had to learn, you know, and to recite. We all had to do that. And then we had our Bible history in German, and we had it in English, you know. In the hallway, we had a bucket of water with a dipper in it. Everybody used the same dipper. And I think we had a little wash basin to rinse our fingers off once in a while.
In the earlier years, and this was only when I was in first grade when we had the one-room school and had the pot-bellied stove for heat. But in those early years, children had to bring in the wood or the coal that was needed and bring in a fresh bucket of water, our drinking fountain with the dipper. Desks were attached to the floor, and then the chair was more like a bench that was also attached to the floor.
Oh yes, they had an outhouse, sure. One for the boys and one for the girls. That was quite a thing.
The teachers are really nice, and they help you out if you ask a question, and they make learning fun, so it doesn't really seem like you're learning, but that you're having fun.
We only had that one teacher, Teacher Stelhorn, and he was a strict teacher. You better mind him.
First grade was Mr. Benavesa, and he taught all 8 grades. Then second, third, and fourth grades, I had a woman teacher who had the lower grades, and she's someone that I really admired. She was like a role model for me.
I think the other thing is that the teachers were all very supportive, and the support that was given to my family in particular was very interesting in that when I was in second grade, I had an injury, and I missed all of my second grade in school at Trinity. But the teacher, Miss Beck, came to my house on a weekly basis to tutor me at no extra cost or no charges, and it was something that kept me in our class together. As so in third grade, I was back in the same class with the students, and that's something that I don't think you would ever see in another school. They would just say, well, catch up in the next year and you'll be fine. But they gave the extra encouragement to families as well as to the students, and I think that's a big plus that Trinity always has had and still has.
But I guess when I think about it, I think more about the ways that Trinity hasn't changed. The undying commitment that this congregation has to Lutheran education is just unwavering through all these years, and it's just as strong as ever. And I think of the support that we get from our parents. It's just phenomenal the way that they support the things that we do. And I guess the thing that gets to me most is how Trinity has always been willing to let us try new things and to change positions, like myself, from teacher to principal, back to teacher, and just that the things that this congregation does to support people And the way that the alumni come back, and when you think about how many children are in our school now that their mom and dad went to school here, it says something about what Trinity is all about.
Our penmanship books, you know, those were perfect lines in there, and Teacher Stellhorn would come along and watch everybody and see to it so they stay in the line. You couldn't even miss them. And then I guess sometimes, you know, if they don't do it right, you know, he would take his finger and snap their ears, you know. And he's the one that used to even spank them. So, you know, it depends on what they were doing, you know, and how bad they were, you know. They even would get spanked. I think he had one of those razor straps, you know.
Most of the years, those 8 years that I was in school, probably the principal punishment was a slap or a couple of slaps on the hand with a ruler. And depending on how bad the behavior was, why it might be only one slap, it might be several. And but that was the common first line of discipline. Another form of discipline was having to stand in the corner and face the wall. So, you know, that was hard, because then you couldn't see what was going on in the rest of the room. And you might have to stand there for 10 minutes, you might have to stand there for a half hour.
At Trinity, we had Mr. Black was the principal at that time, and it was always the big fear if you had to go into the principal's office, because he had the paddle. And I don't know if he's ever used it or if he ever had to use it on any of my classmates, but it was always the fear of the paddle that was the concern. And I don't think, like I say, he really used it, but it was there, and we knew that if we got out of line, we had to go to the principal's office.
We had reading, and then we had spelling, you know, and then religion. Oh, we got to learn that, which I'm very glad of.
Trinity has a computer lab with, so that everybody can use the computers. Sometimes there are some spare computers, and there are quite a few. They're all networked so that you can read off each other's computers. And Mrs. Humke has a server which controls all the computers on the network.
And there's computers in the library, like the internet and like Encarta, where you can look up information.
When you learn about Jesus, there's some fun things that you can do, like activities and stuff. And it's just fun to learn about that.
We had our lunches, good old summer sausage and good old dried beef sandwiches. They were good. And then we used to have probably cookies and then an orange to take along with the fruit.
Well, when we went to school, Trinity's lunch cafeteria was where the 8th grade classrooms are now. And we all fit in one room, and we had hot lunch once a month. And it was put on by the Mothers Club. And we had a choice between a hamburger or a hot dog, potato chips, a pop, and I believe carrots or a pickle or something of that nature, and it was 40 cents. And I remember that was a big deal. Nowadays they have hot lunch every day, and you just kind of go along with the times, but that was a big deal when we were in school, the hot lunch day.
Their hot lunches are sometimes pretty good. One of my favorites are the chili dog and the corn dog. It's really nice to be able to have a choice. I like that.
We had recess, we had games to play outside, you know. We played jacks, and we had hopscotch or jump the rope or pum-pum pull away. And the boys used to play ball, you know. The girls had it on the north side and the boys were on the south side. Well, we couldn't play together at all. I guess when he got to see that the girls and boys got kind of mixed up, you know, he would direct us, you know, to tell us to get back where we belong.
I really remember every lunchtime playing kickball. I remember playing kickball every lunchtime and spending all morning deciding who was going to be on the kickball teams. That's really what we did in 8th grade every single day.
When I came to Trinity over 30 years ago, I remember that this was just a fantastic facility. After all, we had Selectric IBM typewriters, we had a new film projector, new film strip projector, and all those things. Now I look back and I see all the great things that have happened in the meantime, you know, from a computer lab to internet, to all the different types of dramas and music and band that we have now. I can just see the progress that has taken place, and it's really been a blessing. And it's been a blessing because so many people have been involved. Parents and students and teachers and principals, school boards and members of Trinity have all supported the program here.
No athletics at all that I remember. We did in the upper grades do some, I guess we'd call it an evening of entertainment, and we did little skits and playlets, some special music.
We played interscholastic basketball and volleyball and softball. You know, I was in the band there. I think I started in 4th grade or whatever it was that we started. And I then went on to band in high school, which I played in, and marched, and we did the marching band and all those things.
I remember when I first came, I was the PE teacher, and I would have like 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade boys all at one time. And that was challenging, and same with the girls. And fortunately, that didn't last long. We were able to change that quickly. Sports, so we started really with basketball starting to gain popularity when I came in 1965, and just grew stronger and stronger. For a long time we played flag football and softball, and volleyball was maybe for the girls, but not too much of that. And so now we've evolved into a program where equality with the boys and the girls, with the basketball, with volleyball, with track, and many opportunities to do all kinds of things. Really grown in that area.
And in the school picnic at the end of the school year was always an exciting event. We met in what was then Turner's Grove, which no longer exists, and the children put on a program. Very often that was a patriotic program.
Guard the flag of our native land, guard the flag of liberty. That was, then we marched around and...
Hello. What a privilege it's been to be principal of Trinity Lutheran School for the last 9 years. 9 years ago, my family and I visited here for the first time. And the one thing that was very obvious was the fact that Christ was working here in very mighty ways. His work among so many people excited us, and the Spirit touched us, and we came. Now, after being here for 9 years, that same kind of wonderful activity is still all around. The church continues to grow, and the school has grown from 400 to over 600 students, and the possibility is still there for more growth. But more than anything, what we want to do at Trinity is to accomplish the goal that people have accomplished here at Trinity for the last 100 years, and that is to teach Jesus Christ to their children.
I'm the 4th generation of my family that's gone to Trinity, because my great-grandpa, he was the principal and teacher here, and my grandma, she was a student here, and all my aunts and uncles, they were students here, and my mom was, and so I'm the 4th generation, and hopefully I'll keep on sending my kids and grandkids in whenever here when I get older.